ingredients for this recipe are listed here, followed by the directions. Pause the video if you need more time, or keep watching for step-by-step instructions. The total cost of all the ingredients used is $3.57. This recipe serves 6 people, so the cost per serving is 60 cents.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I'm a SNAP Ed nutritionist for Cornell Cooperative Extension of Jefferson County. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make pumpkin ricotta stuffed shells. So as you can see here, all the ingredients are listed, but what I like most about this recipe is that it's very low cost. So a single serving of this recipe only costs about 60 cents to make, so very, very budget friendly. Most of these ingredients can be found at your local food pantry, but they are very easily found at your local grocery store and for very low cost. Another thing that I really like about this recipe is that it uses pumpkin. I know a lot of people, especially myself, don't really know what to do with canned pumpkin besides make pumpkin pie. So this is a great option for using that canned pumpkin for a dinner recipe. Canned pumpkin is packed with vitamin A, so a great option to use, great for your eyes and for your immune function. So you need 3/4 cups of this pumpkin puree right here. You also need 12 jumbo pasta shells, which I have right here. If you don't want to use these jumbo shells because we're going to stuff them, if you don't want to do that, you can just use the stuffing as a meat sauce almost, and just use regular spaghetti or pasta noodles with those. So these jumbo shells that I'm using here are an enriched grain product, and you can tell that by looking at the label right there. And what that means is that it's not a whole grain. So you take that whole grain and you remove some fiber and some of those nutrients from it to make it a refined grain. When it's enriched, you add some of those nutrients back into it, but you can't add the fiber back in. And that's why my plate recommends half of your grains for the day come from whole grains. So since I want to use this enriched product for my supper tonight, I need to figure out other ways to get my whole grains in for the day. Examples of that could be oatmeal for breakfast in the morning. You could have a sandwich for lunch with whole wheat bread, and you could have some yogurt with some granola on top of it for a snack. All of those options would let me use this enriched product for my supper tonight. So the other ingredient that you need 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, which I have right here, so we're getting our dairy product in that way. You need 1 1/4 cups of non-fat ricotta cheese, which I also have right here. I did want to mention with this ricotta cheese, when I picked it out at the store, it does say, and you can see in the green, it is made with part skim milk. When I was picking this out at the store, the packaging for the option that is made with whole milk looks the exact same. So it definitely pays to look at the label and to read the label to know what you're picking out. Other products like milk, I know uses different colors for the labels. This product did not. So definitely read the labels with those. Then you need 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, which I have right here. You need 2 tablespoons of dried basil. I do not have dried basil, so I'm not going to be using that. I need 1/4 teaspoon of ground sage right here. And I need 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, which I have right here. This recipe also calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I'm not going to be including that because I'm trying to keep this low sodium as possible. I rarely cook with salt because there are other seasonings that I can use to replace that flavor. The last ingredient that you need is 1 cup of pasta sauce, which I have right here. So when looking at canned products, you want to look for the low sodium option, which you can tell that this is low sodium by the packaging right there. If you cannot find the low sodium option, you want to look at the back of the label, find the nutrition facts, find sodium, and then compare the sodium content between brands to find the option with the least amount of sodium. So that's all the ingredients that you need. Let's get cooking.
Before you start working with food, you want to make sure you wash your hands for a full 20 seconds with hot soap and water. 20 seconds is about the time it takes you to sing Happy Birthday or the alphabet song. You also want to make sure that all your work surfaces and utensils are clean. No need to use cleaners or sprays, hot soap and water will do. Make sure you rinse off the top of the can so germs and dust don't get into the food once you puncture it with the can opener. Also, inspect your cans for dents and damage, which can cause punctures in the can, causing air to get in and spoiling the food inside. Before you start cooking, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to start by cooking your noodles. Once your pot of water is boiling, add your 12 jumbo shells to it. Once the noodles are cooked, drain the water. Next, you want to lay the shells out so they can cool and dry. You want to choose a container that's large enough to fit all 12 shells without them touching, and you also want to choose something that has raised sides so any excess water doesn't get all over. I'm using a cake pan here. While the noodles are cooling, start making the stuffing. Mix the remaining ingredients in a bowl except for the pasta sauce. So 1 1/2 cups of non-fat ricotta cheese. If you didn't want to use your ricotta cheese, cottage cheese is a great substitute. Add in 3/4 cup of canned pumpkin. Now this recipe does not use the entire can of pumpkin, but don't throw the rest away. Add it to a smoothie or mix it with some non-fat yogurt for a great snack. Add in your non-fat Parmesan cheese. This recipe calls for half a cup, but make sure you reserve 1 tablespoon of that for some topping at the end. Next, you want to add in your spices. So half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of sage, and don't forget the 2 tablespoons of dried basil. And then mix it all together. You'll want to make sure this is mixed well so that each shell has the same amount of flavor. Your next step will be to pour the 1 cup of low sodium pasta sauce in the bottom of a baking dish. When choosing a baking dish, make sure you choose one that can fit all the shells close together but in a single layer. I'm using an 11 by 7 and it holds 2 quarts. If you're using regular noodles instead of the jumbo shells, skip this step and instead heat the pasta sauce and the stuffing on the stove. If you are using the jumbo shells, spoon a little bit of the mixture into the shells. I'm using a tablespoon here, and you want to do about 3 tablespoons per shell. Place the shells on the pasta sauce so they're close together but in a single layer. Cover with tin foil. Place the shells in your preheated oven and bake for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, remove the pan from the oven. Carefully remove the tin foil and sprinkle with that remaining 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. Return to the oven uncovered for another 15 minutes. Once your timer goes off, it's ready to serve. A serving size for this recipe is 2 shells.
So right now, this dish includes the grain category, the vegetable category, and the dairy category. It is vegetarian. If you did want to add meat, you could add some chicken or some lean ground turkey, or even some lentils for some protein in that as well. If you wanted, you could also fry up some green beans or some other vegetables and use it as a side as well. Enjoy!
This video is sponsored by the USDA. The USDA is an equal opportunity employer. For more information, tips, and recipes, visit our website, snapedny.org. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, provides nutrition assistance to people with low income. It can help you buy nutritious foods for a better diet. To find out more, contact 1-800-352-8401.